because I can't test it while it's open here.
I'm so not used to like
Looking.
Oh, that's the camera up there.
The camera's up there.
I
That is not-
I was
not
looking
helpful.
at that last time.
What's up, Fansplash fans, especially Fansplash Comic Club fans? But
Hola.
we can't have any fans because this is our first episode. So welcome newcomers. Come be our fans. Come subscribe to the Fansplash channel if you haven't already. If you like comic books, if you like comic book movies, comic book TV, this is the place to go. We're littered with all kinds of things that we're going to talk about today. We have a monthly comic that we've been following. Flash it up. Where is it?
Oh,
There it is. Bordertown. We're going to talk about Bordertown, the first issue that came out a few weeks ago. We're going to talk about Saga. We're going to talk about some Flash. We got lots of good things coming up. What is up, Dan Clapper in the chat? Sorry you couldn't join us today, bud, but glad you are here in spirit.
Feel better.
In text. Ooh, you're getting called out from the sidelines. Let us know if the audio is good, because if it's not, we have a few settings. Settings number 1, 2, 3. Okay. I want to go back to 2. That's a safe zone. All right, guys. So
good audio. Thank you, Dan. We needed that.
okay, perfect. That means we can stick to number 2, so you can hear us clearly. Excellent. First off, I guess what we want to do is kind of our basic introductions. So let's do a round of names, starting from left to right.
Shane.
Samuel.
That is incorrect.
Okay. I failed this question. It's Alex.
What's your color? Blue.
No, green.
Ah! Okay. That is Alex. Shane. I am, of course, Jesse Swift. If you follow the Fansplash podcast, you do know that. All right. I think I know the answers for most of these. Pretty obvious. What's your favorite comic book character? Just right off the bat.
See, this is a hard one for me because I have like a top 3. Am I cool to say a top 3?
You can say a top 3.
Okay.
We'll allow it today.
The 3 main things that I read and am a fan of: Batman, of course. I mean, I'm wearing a Batman Beyond shirt. Hellboy and Constantine. Those are my guys.
There's some funny business happening.
But yeah, that's
Ace.
those are my
We got a little bat hound.
yeah, those are my main reads.
Alex.
My favorites are Jessica Rabbit, Duck Dodgers, and none of
Darkwing?
Darkwing Duck.
I
yeah.
mean, that's a good shout.
I actually did like a top 5, and they were all Duck characters. Like, you know, if you can pick one.
I mean,
Yeah,
where's it's Howard the Duck, right?
Yeah.
You forgot about that one.
Howard the Duck was like my Marvel one that I went with. No, my top 5 are my top 5.
It's supposed to be top 1. It's supposed to be top 1.
Realistically, it's all Flash.
Yeah.
And Flash characters. And Flash
I'm gonna do this in my downtime, so Flash is my life.
Well,
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
I shouldn't have let Shane go first, because now I've lost all originality, because
I'm so sorry.
I was like, oh, I have.
You could have gone right to left and made me the like.
Yeah, that's what I should have done, because you reminded me that, like, I was just going to throw Batman out there, because Batman, he is my number 1.
Yeah.
But then I realized I haven't really been reading that much Batman recently. And as far as like established characters that have been around for a long time, I also love Constantine. Like, he's like my other number 2. So there's like, movies are different. There's a lot of Marvel movie characters that I love, but I don't read their comics, so I wouldn't put them in my top 3.
I agree.
So I'll say Batman and Constantine. Obviously, I haven't gotten enough into Hellboy to like steal that one from you, but
African
One day.
European swallow.
it was a Monty Python joke. Good job, Dan. I appreciate you.
I will say that I don't watch those movies.
Well,
I
that's okay.
haven't. I mean,
This
I
is-
probably will at least once.
This is
So
about movies.
Shane will go missing after this one.
Yes, no, I got you, Dan. I picked up on it. Okay, so also, what is your favorite, if you can pick one, comic book movie? I'm doing down the list of favorites right now.
Ooh, favorite comic book movie? This is going to be interesting considering what my top 3 reads just were.
And he was never seen again.
But I mean, I could go.
So there you just get a little flashy flash.
I could do.
Oh, wait.
I
wait, I
could
want
say
something
The
else.
Dark Knight, because of course that movie's fantastic. But lately, like, I've been really digging Blade.
The Blade Trinity?
Not the third one.
Ah.
Blade Trinity. Meh.
They made a vampire dog out of a goddamn Pomeranian.
And as much as I like Ryan Reynolds, like, we didn't need that comic relief in that movie, but we're just leaving it at that. The first 2 Blade movies are solid. I love those movies.
Fair enough. Favorite comic book movie for me is I got my top 3. I already went over them. Oh, I guess the video's not out yet. But me and Scott did another video where we talked about our top 3 favorites. It's Logan, Winter Soldier, and Man of Steel. Alex, what do you got?
Winter Soldier is a good one.
So my favorite. I'm gonna try to talk close enough to this. I just enough said.
Soul around.
Oh, there we go. There we
I
go.
was reading it backwards because it's how it goes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Avengers because it was the most epic hero movie.
Pop trivia. What was
Of
the
its
movie
time.
called in the UK?
I could tell you what it was called in Mexico, Los Vengadores,
Why do you know that?
because we have a Mexican Avengers poster in my store.
Rad.
Oh,
It was actually Avengers Assemble in the UK.
That's even cooler.
It is. And
Yeah,
it's really upsetting.
Well, because that was all the marketing posters, so I didn't know that.
I wouldn't know that because I'm a latecomer to the Marvel MCU. So, I mean, I didn't watch
Okay,
them all until.
It's better to
Infinity
come
War.
late than come never.
Yeah, because dry shooting is just awful.
Well said.
All right, favorite comic book related TV shows.
Constantine, 100%.
Hey, Dan Lane, favorite superhero TV shows? Honestly, The Flash. Like, it is not letting me down yet.
Nobody's surprised by our answer so far.
No. Hold on. I should change it. If not The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow. It is a fun ride. It feels like Stargate Atlantis meets, I don't know, Scooby-Doo.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, there you go. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw out that when Constantine was out, I preferred it to The Flash. But now that I'm 4 seasons deep and invested into The Flash, like I have to say, Flash is my favorite comic book TV show.
Good.
Constantine never made me cry, and I got like 2 hands for how many times Flash was just effed up my emotions. So Flash is my number 1. Preacher is a good pull.
Preacher's really good. I was surprised.
Can I throw in an honorable mention? I mean, this is an
Right.
animated one. I just started rewatching Batman Beyond, and it's fantastic.
You know what? That is so fair because I didn't even think about animated shows when I talk about my favorite stuff.
Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
You got Wolverine, X-Men, you got Young Justice. Like
Yeah.
we could go
I
on and
want
on.
to dive into Young Justice because Zatanna's in it, and I
Little bit.
want to see more of
Yeah.
Zatanna in general.
Justice League Unlimited is really,
And
really
they
good.
do some interesting things with Zatara and Dr. Fate. Is Zatara is the dad?
I'm not sure.
Zatara?
I don't know enough.
It's
Okay.
something.
I would imagine.
Zaslomo.
Okay, so I think that's all we got. So now you guys,
Soul Calibur.
that's again, we know you know us. We're not strangers anymore. You know our likes, our interests, and all that good stuff. So let's do what we came here for, which is to review the very first issue of the now sold out.
Well,
Bordertown. Yeah, it's sold out in most places.
so
Yes.
the printing's sold out,
That's-
but if you can find a store that has it, I mean, good luck. None of the stores around here seem to.
No
you
more
can still
new prints for a
potentially
little bit.
yeah, I bought mine digitally. I
Yeah,
have no idea what to do in the
the second print run won't be available till October 10th. The week after the second issue comes out.
Where did we hear about Bordertown?
I heard about it from a post on the Fansplash page. It was what was the name of the group or the YouTube channel?
The podcast channel?
Yeah,
Collider Movie Talk.
There
Or
we
no,
go.
sorry, Collider Heroes is a
Yeah,
branch of Movie Talk.
the writer main guy behind this book was on there, and that's where I heard of it. And I knew Vertigo was coming back because of the Sandman stuff, but I didn't know what was coming out that was new as far as Vertigo imprint goes.
I heard about mine from Variant. Just because.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I get all my updates from Variant. That's actually how I found out about like
Oh,
Dark
Variant
Knight
Comics.
Yeah.
I watched that too.
Aries is a dope ass host, but that's how I figured out about Dark Knight's Metal and Bordertown was like the next one he did.
So I have, I obviously, I posted that link from Collider Heroes because I watch all Collider stuff every day. And I was really excited. I've been looking for like, what's a new thing that's like starting right now that I can jump into and be on top of, because I've never done that before. Everything I've ever read has always been a backlog of something. It's been a volume that's come out like post, it's, so I've always just kind of gone and find those random things. So it's really cool to have our own issue to start now. And what attracted me to this before I ever saw the artwork was just the concept, because I love anything revolving any kind of mythology. I love Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Norse mythology.
Folk tales are really fun for me. I've always enjoyed them, and I mean, as a Hellboy fan, like
Yeah, you have
this
to.
whole mythos is folk tales. So I'm excited to get exposed to some folktales I may not know about.
That's the great thing about it. Is like I think a lot of us have heard about the chupacabra, the goat eater.
Absolutely.
But that's about where it ends, I think, for most people as
people.
far as Mexican folklore
Agreed.
goes. So to hear the writer really go on and on about we're introducing this character and this character and this character, and he's talking about all these legends that exist in just Mexican culture. I was like, that's fascinating. That sounds awesome. And then it was described as the Mexican Stranger Things. I'll do a quick little synopsis rundown of what this first issue is about to see if it's for you guys or something that you'd want to take a look into. So when a crack in the border between worlds releases an army of monsters from Mexican folklore, the residents of Devil's Fork, Arizona, blame the ensuing weirdness, the shared nightmares of the otherworldly radio transmissions, the mysterious goat mutilations, on goddamn and legals, and racial tensions supernaturally charged. It's up to a new kid in town. Frank, does anyone have a better way of pronouncing that?
Francisco is actually his name, but he goes by Frank.
Yeah. Which is cool.
Dominguez?
I don't know. There's a lot of names in here that I don't want to try to pronounce.
Sorry if I offended anybody. And a motley crew of high school misfits to discover what's really going on in this town torn between two worlds. So, Bordertown is a double entendre. It is both the border between Arizona and Mexico, and also
The border between our realm and theirs.
yes. So this first issue, we are introduced to the chupacabra, as you see right there. If you ever wondered what a chupacabra may look like, it's a little goblin, gremlin-looking thing. What did you guys think of the first issue? Are you picking up another one? And after you're done, just thumbs up, thumbs down.
So where do we want to start?
I mean, I'll lead, just because I guess I haven't talked too much. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't really know what I was getting into opening it.
Yeah, this to me doesn't seem like a comic that you would normally pick up.
Yeah, and so
Point.
no, exactly that. It's something new for kind of all of us. And since we've been on like our Justice League Dark and Hellblazer kick, I think this was kind of a good way to go. But it opened up like this family trying to cross the border, and there's like a whole bunch of rednecks, and the whole time they're talking, like all I could hear them talking like was they took their jobs, the whole time, like go get them darn Mexicans, And so I can't really do their accent because I have a credit score. But yeah, it opened up like this family trying to cross the border, and then like they're going.
Shit got real fast.
Yeah,
it did.
They're going like hunting, for illegal immigrants or illegal aliens, and quite literally an illegal alien showed up and slaughtered that family.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting that. I thought like someone was gonna show up and kill the hunters, but instead it like killed his dad and the mom and the daughter. It was just like gnawing on the bones. And I was like,
not too much of a spoiler from the first couple pages.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's try and not spoil it.
I'm just giving everything away. Long story short, it felt like, it really did feel like a lot like Stranger Things. And it opened up really well. I felt it was kind of dull in the middle, and then it closed really well.
It's hard to describe or talk about the pacing really of something that's only like a few pages to try to establish the story and get you hooked into it. But I think we all unanimously kind of feel that like we're ready for more. Like it opened up this world. Like
I want a second issue.
It stopped right when it started.
Yeah,
I think is where most of us are at. But where's the recommendations at? Do we think other people should pick this up?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, if you're interested in folktales at all, I would definitely say pick it up, especially because these folktales aren't as prevalent in modern culture. I would say it's worth reading because culture's folktales are kind of like how they continue on their stories and lifelines and stuff like that. I would definitely say just for that aspect, it's worth picking up alone because we'll be introduced to things we may not be familiar with, and broadening your horizons is always a good thing.
Stay tuned also for next month when we should be reviewing Volume 2. Yes. This is a monthly release, so if you ever feel like you're behind, it'd be very easy to catch up.
Yeah. As far as my opinion on it, I'm right in the middle. I'm not like 100% yay, but I'm not also 100% nay because it is just the first issue. They have a lot to set up still, but I will say what they showed at the end has me really interested. That's more of what I want to see.
You definitely get sold on the last frame of the comic. And that's over.
Exactly.
Over, yeah.
I want to see more of that particular world, and I know it won't be there, but I'm excited to see what comes out.
I think I know it's your turn, but I'm jumping again.
Oh, we're all over the place.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think something that really kind of sold me in the comic that involved the kids and the school is when you see the aliens show up, people don't really freak out that they're aliens. they freak out that it's the cops or that it's whatever creatures representing actual people's duties. Like this is what Mexicans are actually afraid of. Like
Well, just
Mm.
people in general right now.
or people in general, but like people of color and depending on the culture, like they're afraid of the police or the immigration shows up as like this monster that eats people, and so I think it's kind of wild that
It's an
like it feels like they're reacting like when they're running from them that they're reacting to them the same way we do with people, but obviously in this comic they're monsters, they're beasts, and they're not reacting to them as creatures from another like dimension, but as people doing their jobs.
I think that's very well said, and
agreed.
I think
I couldn't have said it better.
that's pretty fucking real. Like,
I will say the creative team behind this will give people perspective that they may not have. I mean, none of us here have to worry about a lot of those kind of things.
yeah, fortunately.
Yeah, very fortunately, and it's going to be interesting to see how they go about doing this. Because I mean, some of the stuff in this issue is very blatant, and I'm not going to neg them on that because they have every right to do so. This culture right now is definitely a culture of shock and awe, and to get your point across, sometimes you have to be part of that.
And my last thought that I'll throw out there about Bordertown, because I really did enjoy this comic, is I think it is a shame to a degree. I mean, if it brings in more readers, then all the better. But the comic itself is being labeled as controversial, and they want to put all these labels on it, like it's racist, it's political. I'm like,
It's white people.
it just kind of depends on how sensitive you want to be. I think it has a lot of fascinating perspective on America and our society and things, and I think that you should be able to look at other people's perspectives or viewpoints on something without getting offended. But that's getting into a whole nother conversation.
I'll bounce off that. I told Alex this earlier, and I told a few people this. Vertigo has always been a for mature readers imprint, and a lot of the content that they go over is definitely going to be controversial and on the fringe, and some people may not be able to handle that. That's cool, but don't throw this in the dirt and spit on it because you don't necessarily agree what's going on.
And I'll say that compared to some of the reading material we're going to be talking about as the episode progresses, this doesn't touch on controversial.
Yeah.
But which kind of is our segue. Is there any lasting things you want to throw in there, Alex?
I don't know, man. Honestly, for the few viewers we have, and hopefully the more we'll have later, I think you really should check this out. Like I said, I jumped in not really knowing what I was reading, and I felt like I was sitting in a classroom in the movie Freedom Riders. I was like, man, there's so much of this world that we don't see, but everyone else deals with, and we know exists. And that's really kind of what I got out of this. Like, yeah, it's controversial, yeah, it's political, but yeah, it's also really real.
Yeah,
and so
it's good. I appreciate the perspective.
I don't think I'm Bordertown.
I really enjoyed it.
Also, side note, I love the artwork. I like the twist on modern comics, but it also looks like an old Vertigo comic.
Yeah, it does.
It's unique and it's awesome.
It kind of feels like an Archie comic.
It's very accessible.
I've seen previews of what's to come because I know somebody who knows the artist behind it,
I don't know anything.
and it looks awesome.
Oh, fantastic! Can't wait.
So,
all right, so we'll put that at the bottom of our to go through pile here.
yeah, me and you are.
Hi.
loaded. I probably need to wrap this up here shortly, but
Okay.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Well, let's do your three. What have you most recently finished reading?
Most recently finished reading was the Dark Knight's Rising, Dark Knight's Metal volume. It's all the tie-in issues where each of the Dark Batman or I can't remember what exactly they call them, the Dark Knights, get their standalone issues and their backstories. Really fantastic. There's only one issue that I wasn't super keen on, and it's right at the tail end of this, but it ties into the actual storyline and introduces some characters that pop up in Justice League No Justice and the new Justice League Dark. But I will say a sleeper character out of the Dark Knights is Dawnbreaker Batman. I wasn't expecting to like his character as much as I did, and his story is incredibly compelling, and it's interesting that they took that take, and I'm surprised more people aren't focusing on him, but also the Batman Who Laughs kind of does steal the show because he's kind of the mastermind of it all.
Fantastic. Well, that's all the recommendation I need to eventually pick that up.
Yeah, it is outstanding, and the cover art is too. Go ahead and show the camera.
Yeah,
It's
so like
really,
all of the Dark
really
Knight's
cool.
Metal volumes have this crazy metallic look to them. All the artwork in these books is great. I mean, the main run I'm pretty sure is Capullo, which he's been working with Snyder for a long time, who's the main writer for the main Dark Knight Metal story. That story is fantastic. I would say if you're wanting to get into the newer runs of Justice League or Batman or any of that stuff, a lot of what happens in here ties into the stuff that's happening now, especially Justice League No Justice and the new Justice League runs and the Justice League Dark that spawned out of that.
Fantastic. Really quick, just a summary of what are you reading right now?
Reading right now, first issue of Sandman. I've been recommended.
Long time coming.
Yeah, long time coming. I've been reading Hellblazer, as you guys know, old Vertigo stuff, and Sandman. I'm a huge Neil Gaiman fan. I read a lot of his regular novels. Of course, this is where he started, essentially. I mean, there's Black Orchid, which I've also read. But this so far is introducing the character of Morpheus into the whole Vertigo DC world. He's actually
Lawrence Fishburne?
No. He's retelling the story, bringing Sandman into the modern world, whereas because there are other Sandman in the DC universe, and this is the one that most people are familiar with. He pops up in Dark Knight's Metal, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
So yeah, you will see him in there if you do read it. But this is essentially just him getting his, I guess, feet back kind of thing. He gets captured by some people trying to capture his sister Death. And he's held for multiple decades, and once he gets out, he has to kind of start from scratch again. His whole world, the dreaming, is kind of left in shambles, and he has to start all over again without his tools. And he goes through the story of how he gets those back. Constantine's in here, Justice League's in here, Martian Manhunter is actually in this.
I didn't realize it was that closely tied to the DC universe. I thought it was very separate.
This issue or volume starts out, because I mean it was like the first thing that Vertigo really did. Swamp Thing and Hellblazer were coming out around the same time on the Vertigo imprint, but that was their way of getting people super interested in this. So Etrigan makes an appearance as well. We were talking about that earlier. But yeah, so far so good. I'm really enjoying it. My favorite issue in here so far is where he actually makes a trip to hell to get one of his tools back, and it's a very fascinating issue. That's where Etrigan pops up. So I might pick that up as a single just to have it because it is really cool. But that's what I'm reading right now.
Fantastic. All right. Also, what's next?
So, to read list, of course, the ever controversial Batman.
Putting the dick back in Dick Grayson.
That seems to be the big thing that people are taking out of that. I will say this is my.
Wasn't that impressive of a dick? I was expecting more of a dick on.
Come on, I mean, gotta give him something average, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Nothing.
This cover is my favorite of the two that came out. This is covered by Jim Lee. I'll probably get this framed and hang it up. But the only thing I know about this is the Joker's dead. Batman doesn't know why or who did it, and he's kind of freaking out about it because he's on the suspect list, and he enlists John Constantine to help him go through Gotham's underbelly to figure out who did it. 3-issue miniseries comes out bi-monthly. This is the first issue.
Are they all going to be that size?
Yes, they're all going to be this size.
I can't have to get that.
I will.
So the price is a little bit higher, of course, because it is a bigger book and it's the first part of DC Black Label, but it's $7 for this.
That's
$7.
It's not that bad.
Size-wise, it's the equivalent of like about 2 issues.
Exactly. Yeah, it has a lot of content to it, especially for it being a 3-part miniseries. So
all right, it looks like you have your single recommendation ready as well.
I haven't read this yet.
Oh, that's up and coming.
So this is to read. This is BPRD Hell on Earth Volume 2. Of course,
is that focused on the front?
Yes. So it's not the suit that you will be introduced to in the book that you're going to read. Something happens and he has to get a new suit. And the first volume of this has that, and this is the follow-up to it. So essentially, if you are a Hellboy fan, all the Hell on Earth stuff takes place post Hellboy
And Rasputin.
No,
Really?
post Hellboy Blood Queen.
Oh.
There are implications to that storyline that majorly affect this. Essentially, hell is being wrought upon Earth. Like demons are popping up everywhere, and BPRD's trying to figure out how to deal with it. And they're missing very key players in the BPRD, and they're kind of struggling to keep a hold on everything. And the world is just in shambles. The first volume of this actually has a story based in Seattle, and you get to see Seattle completely destroyed, and people trying to figure out what they can do to save what's left. So this is just a continuation. I've been reading this stuff for a long time. If you want to get started on this, you can. You don't necessarily have to read Hellboy to do it. The beauty of the Mignolaverse is you can pick up any of the storylines from issue 1 and read it. So if you want to read Hell on Earth, you can. If you want to read Plague of Frogs, you can. But it helps to read the other stuff because then you know why everything's happening the way that it is.
Context.
Exactly. And they do it very beautifully. But yes, I'm going to read this probably after I read Batman Damned and I finish Sandman.
All right. Without having to get into too much detail, what's just one comic you shoot out there to the viewers? What's one thing to get started on, start reading, pick up?
I would say, honestly, for like current stuff that's going on, pick up Dark Knight's Metal because it has a little bit of everything. It's technically a Batman-centric story, but everybody in the DC universe pops up.
Now, is it better to listen to Slayer while reading? I feel like that would enhance the.
See, you're talking to the wrong guy because I'm not a Slayer fan.
Mastodon.
I mean,
I don't like them either.
I like Mastodon. I got into them, but the whole metal thing is definitely just the shtick they stuck with. I mean, they wanted to make it like a rock and roll like storyline, but because it has all the characters, it has huge implications to the end of Rebirth and all of that stuff. Because I think we're post Rebirth at this point.
And Rebirth is still going on.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's a re-afterbirth.
Yeah. So no, this is a time to. Hey, Kenji.
Because I mean, nothing's branded Rebirth anymore.
No,
you mean 52?
No, Rebirth is actually still currently it's tying up now, but they're in their like 50,
Okay.
55 issues.
Okay.
So Rebirth is still very much alive.
So the Dark Knight's Metal thing has huge implications for where the DC universe is going, but it has a little bit of every character in there. Like you see Aquaman, you see Superman, you see Wonder Woman, Detective Chimp pops up, and you get Hawkman and all of those characters as well. And you get introduced to Barbados and all the Dark Knights, which is fantastic. And from what I hear, the Batman Who Laughs appears in the Legion of Doom in the new Justice League books. So I would say for somebody starting out, I mean, this is going to be a very DC-centric lineup, I'm sure. But I would say that would be a good place to start because it is a very fun read.
Do we need an interruption? Are you just fascinated?
Are you just interested in what I'm saying?
Oh. I thought you were waiting to say something. Like,
so yeah, that I would say
we have a bench.
that would be a good place to start currently. I mean, if we're talking old school stuff, I mean, this is very biased, but I think Sandman is a good place to pick up, especially if you're more of a conventional book reader, because Neil Gaiman is a very wordy author. So,
alrighty, well said. Well, that sounds awesome. How much longer do we have you?
I could probably say, well, I should probably leave now.
Okay. I was checking. Thank you for the reviews. Glad you can make it. That has been the Shane list.
I'm very long-winded. Sorry.
That's okay. We'll try to get the rest done in a flash.
In a flash. No, mine's gonna be in a flash. Like
Yeah,
I'm so short.
Okay.
Like you guys have these impressive lists.
What did you just read most recently? What was the last thing that you picked up and read through?
Besides the topic.
But yeah, but besides that, Bordertown would be the Flash War.
You finished those?
Yeah, they've gotten pretty intense. I actually started post Flash War. I just haven't picked up my physical copy yet, but it got really insane. All the Flashes involved, all fighting each other, and that's after the return of Wally West. Long story short, Golden Glider becomes Sinestro Corps Lantern Builder, and such becomes Golden Guardian. Captain Cold, he certainly steps up the ranks and becomes like a Earth police officer as well, kind of taking care of bigger forces. You kind of got a feeling of it out of Injustice, but you really get to feel it a bit more in the Flash War. And then post this, because of Wally West jumping out of the Speed Force, the world gets opened up to more forces than just what?
I said bus metas.
Yeah, essentially bus metas.
Can I add something really quick?
Yeah.
apparently they're doing an Injustice versus Master of the Universe comic.
Oh yeah,
It's
we
already
already
out.
know about it.
Some of them
That-
are out.
That's already been, yeah, yeah.
I just think that's weird, but that's
It is.
Yeah, no, I'm wondering why we didn't get him in Injustice. Like,
yeah. Right.
but yeah, no,
I have the
it's-
power.
it's getting kind of wild so far, and right now we've been introduced to the Strength Force. On one of the first like issues for the Strength Force, you see Trickster totally just like hulked out, and it's kind of wild. So it's brutal. It's
Do you now hear Mark
Speedster.
Hamill when you see the Trickster in the comics?
I mean I heard him before just because he's been the Trickster since like '94.
Was he the voice?
Yeah, no, he was the physical Trickster in the original TV series.
Didn't he
With
also
John Wesley
do
Shipp.
the voice in
In the
show?
animated series because he did Joker, and so Trickster the Flash's Joker.
Makes sense.
But yeah, Trickster was super like buffed out, and I think it's because he's still a normal human character. But it wasn't Jesse James. It was like not his son, but Axel, I think is his name. Axel's the new Trickster, and so he kind of ended up getting the Strength Force power flowed into him after the theory of the Speed Force came out. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm excited to see where it goes, what other forces we see. Are we going to see like Soul Force? Or are we going to see like Mind Force? I mean, are we going to see, I don't know, Defense Force? You know, like
That sounds redundant, but
No,
it could be cool.
It does sound redundant, you know. But who knows what kind of forces we'll see? Just
We
'cause
do know
we got the same
we're
idea
getting
in the
Space
Western.
Force.
We better get a Space Force. Yeah.
It's been promised to us by the yes.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what we get with this. But yeah, Rebirth is still going pretty strong, and I'm really I don't have as big of a list as you guys do, so mine's gonna be a lot shorter. But Terminal Velocity is right after First Dawn's the Red Outfit. It's in the artwork is actually quite classic. I mean, they're legitimate comic pages from I'm like doing it to the mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're legitimate comic pages.
Hear these pages.
Yeah, listen to them. But yeah, from like the
Listen
90s.
to the artwork.
And I mean, so some of it's like really clean. You can see. I mean, the marker colors.
It's dated, but it's beautiful nonetheless.
Yeah, it's dated and it looks really nice. But yeah, this Wally West is actually the point man as the Flash. So it's just like Dick Grayson becoming Batman. And Wally West remained in the red suit for a while, but this is after.
Who's on the cover? Give us the breakdown.
So the breakdown. Thank you. I'm like losing myself. The breakdown is Wally West, Bart Allen, Jay Garrick, Jesse Quick, and for anyone who doesn't know who the guy in the white shirt is, that's Max Mercury.
See, that's the only one I didn't know. I knew everyone else right off the.
Yeah, Max Mercury is Impulse's mentor, actually.
Okay.
And so you see the two of them teamed up a lot. And then he works with Jesse Quick a ton too, but Jay Garrick was a little closer with Jesse Quick than Max Mercury does. But yeah, it happens shortly after the crisis on Infinite Earths and before Barry Allen comes out of the Speed Force. Because currently everyone just thinks he's dead. This is actually what the Speed Force series in the Flash TV show was about. But he's trapped there, so they have to find a way to get him out of there. And after combining their powers to get him out, that's when we get the wedding with the Flash.
Oh.
And so that's when Barry comes out and marries Iris. So it's kind of cool, but that didn't happen until '98.
Sans the Earth X crossover.
Yeah, and this comic is from '95.
Alright. Well, what is next?
What is next? I actually really want to try out some of the Black Label DC stuff. But I still am going to be picking up Bombshells first.
Awesome.
So yeah,
There are a lot of bombshells at Atomic Comics.
yeah,
Shout out.
there are a ton of volumes for it, and I've seen them in stores. During our last comic book run, I talked about wanting to get it. And if I don't do that, it's going to be Cosmic Ghost Rider.
I have two volumes or 2 issues. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it is wild. I don't want to spoil anything. I've read a bunch online. Enough to say is you get to see Thanos repping a skull, and so that's kind of thing. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to read Bombshells.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. We've passed the 35-minute mark just about, so I'm going to try to get really
It was late.
quickly
Bye,
Here's
guys.
all of my stuff. Just read. When we came up with our breakdown for how we were going to do this episode, my just read was one thing. Is I just finished reading Saga Volume 3 yesterday on the way to go to the fair. I was like, I'm just going to read the comic in the car. And I went through that. And then today, I went a little harder and read Volume 1 of Justice League Dark, Volume 2 of Justice League Dark, Kick-Ass Volume 3, and I have, we'll start with that. So out of what I just read, Saga I've been recommending ever since I started reading it. If you like Lord of the Rings and or Star Wars / Star Trek, and you want them to have a beautiful R-rated bastard baby, Saga is that. As you can see, there's explicit content, guys. There's boobs, blown out heads, violence, decapitations, and the like. Saga is a great time if you are a demented soul. Speaking of demented souls, Justice League Dark. I've been a fan of Justice League Dark long before I ever read a Justice League Dark comic. I don't know what it was, but I was always attracted to the characters. I like Swamp Thing, Deadman, Constantine, and to finally get them all together. And I've been supporting them making a Justice League Dark show or movie for a long time, and so now I can do a little bit of my due diligence and have a platform to actually speak off of. I can't wait to continue this series. It's actually some of not only New 52, but some of the best DC I've ever read.
Yeah,
that gets
really good.
It just gets better with each issue. And interesting is the second one's almost twice as thick as the first one.
Can you tell us about like the cover?
Oh yeah. So the first one is all about Enchantress, and it's Enchantress from Suicide Squad, but we don't really talk about that. If you want to see what she's really capable of and how much one entity can really mess up the entire world and how much people it takes to stop just her, this is what you got. It's going to take more than a guy with good aim and a baseball bat. This one starts out being about vampires and ends up being about Constantine's mentor gone evil, and you got Felix Faust and all these other characters in it. They're both amazing, and I think it sounds like maybe with all the magic stuff it could be a dry read. It's not. It's fantastic. The artwork is great. You have two different artists in these two issues. Both are really distinct and great. The second one has more of an almost painting approach, and just both of them are absolutely beautiful. So I love these. Going more into stuff that's really messed up for the demented souls. Kick-Ass. So I read the first two volumes really, really quick. Loved Kick-Ass. I thought it would make me like the movies, so I rewatched the movies. I don't like the movies. It didn't help. It made me like them less. They're pretty bad. I thought the first two were really messed up, like some of the most messed up stuff that I've seen. This puts Game of Thrones to shame. It's so violent, gory, the language, everything about this is so much more R-rated than the movie. Like, if they actually adapted this, it wouldn't be able to be released in theaters. I'll show when this is done, I'll show you some of the stuff that's in this. It's really intense, but my twisted self, I like this. And whereas the first two were fun in that manner, this one's on the side of kind of depressing, but nonetheless, it's a really great read. So those are the things I just read. Now currently reading. I'm saying currently, but I haven't opened it yet. This is the next. So we'll do what's next and current with this. Because of Shane and just because I love Hellboy, I'm finally going to read Hellboy comics. So I got an omnibus. I'm not going to tiptoe into the water. I'm going all the way in. And I love the artwork in these. It's so unique. And if you see Hellboy artwork, any one panel, you could tell that it's Hellboy. Like there's no mistaking it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, there's that, and also I'm gonna of course be reading Bordertown issue number 2 when it comes out in just a couple weeks here. Can't wait for that. My single recommendation to all you guys, I'll give one on a few different spectrums. One, if you've never read a Marvel comic, pick up Ultimate X-Men. I talked about this a little bit when we were doing the Comic Club tour. And if you've never really done DC at all, I would say pick up Injustice and start with that. If you want something that you're not big on superheroes, but maybe you love sci-fi fans and stuff like that, please, for the love of God, can I get someone else either following this channel or part of this channel to read Saga? It's just, I want to talk about it, And I feel like if I start talking about it with people that haven't read it, they're gonna be like, "What kind of drugs are you smoking?" I'm like, "I am smoking saga on a regular basis." So that's all of mine.
The
in a
Growth
nutshell.
Saga and Bordertown. So.
Yeah. That's it. So, is there any lasting thoughts that you got?
No, yeah, honestly, it's kind of excited to start the first episode of the Comic Club. It's a new podcast we're trying out. Hopefully, it'll get a lot better. The Flash Cave will certainly be up and running in a more fantastic manner soon. And I'm looking forward to more Bordertown as well. Hopefully, we can get Dan in to a few more episodes. Same thing with Shane, and even more of you guys. It'd be really cool to get Tyler and Scott here.
A lot of different tastes and things of that nature.
Yeah, just I mean, even some of the other guys who do comment, Kelsey, you'd be cool. Bryce, you'd be cool. I'd like to.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bryce. Who knows? But no, I like you guys. It'd be cool to kind of see everybody a bit more involved in this. So I'm looking forward to where this goes.
100%.
Thank you guys for watching.
Please like, comment, and subscribe, and especially in the comment section. Let us know how we can improve this show. This first episode is very experimental. There's a lot of things we want to do. We don't know what's best received, what you guys want to see the most.
Yeah, please do.
We're going all recommendations here. We are down to completely course correct and change things. We just want to start getting content out to you guys and express a different side, because a lot of our channel is about movie passion, but we have so many people here. Almost everybody on the network is
About something.
an avid comic book reader or somebody that appreciates comic books. That's where all of our fandom comes from with the movies. So we really wanted to get this going. Thank you for stopping by, and may the comic fandom be with you. I don't have a phrase for these ones yet, but that's
live long and prosper.
that one.
All
right, guys.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. We'll see you guys next time on the next episode of the Fansplash Comic Club, Volume 2. Ending the stream.
It was so